Here are 5 things that I wish I knew before starting to play Illuvium PvP. And make sure to stick around till the end of the video where I give you probably the most important extra tip. So first up, we got dominant affinities. Let's take this gyro as an example. Why are there 4 gyros right here? You can play only one on the field. Just remember that. He's a dust slayer and he will always be a dust slayer. Dust means earth plus air and slayer means fighter plus rogue. And now we can see the dominant affinities and the dominant synergies right here. We got one gyro which is earth dominant and fighter dominant. Then we have one with earth and rogue, air and fighter, and air and rogue. The dominant synergies only matter for 2 things. 1, bonding with your ranger, and 2, the hyper mechanic in Illuvium that we're gonna talk about in the next point. Make sure to choose the right dominant Illuvial that you wanna bond with. So basically, if I bond my ranger with this gyro right here, we are gonna get the air dominance and the fighter dominance. If our ranger, for example, has an earth dagger, giving him earth and rogue, bonded with this gyro right here, air and fighter will give us a dust slayer, just like our gyro, and we activate both of those composite synergies. Coming to the hyper mechanic. The hyper mechanic only works on basic affinities anymore, and if somebody has a composite affinity, like dust for example, only the dominant affinity will count. For example, an air dominant gyro will count as an air in calculating the hyper mechanic. If an Illuvial goes hyper, it gets extra stats and gets stronger. And it goes hyper if it is surrounded or if it is close to units that it counters. For example, here, water Illuvial will strongly counter the earth Illuvial and will slightly counter the fire Illuvial. And then the other way around, the water is gonna be slightly countered by nature and strongly countered by air. Coming to number 3, which is probably one of the most important ones, the mastery point growth chart. Here you can see exactly how many mastery points you will gain every wave, every round. So you know in round 1 I have 100 mastery points to work with. Round 2 I get another 100 points. Round 3 I get 120 mastery points, and so on. So while you're building your teams in the team builder, while you're theory crafting and strategizing, you can exactly plan out round for round what you're gonna do with your team, and you can always manage to get down to 0 mastery points, which will give you the most value. Next up, number 4 is something that improved the quality of life while playing PvP so much for me. So you know how you can scroll through your team right here? You can also right click and just swipe, and this way you're way faster, you from one end to the other end in seconds. Then a super important one right here, if you do anything in PvP, you have this little undo last action button, so you can undo the last action, and now I get my Dorios back, I get my mastery points back. This also works for positioning right here or anything really, but just be careful, because if you place an Illuvial like this and then you do something else like reposition the ranger, now undoing will undo the position of the ranger, but you cannot do it again. So you can only undo one last action, so be careful of that. And lastly, we come in with the bonus tip. If you hold control and right click, you can move around your mode. Your drone right here, we can move it to the enemy, and if we left click this drone, we can then spam some emotes. This is really fun. You can really get up into the enemy's face and spam him full of emotes, give him a little heart, show some love, and that's gonna be it. I hope you learned something in this tutorial. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. And a little reminder, community council elections are going on right now, so please go and vote. I really appreciate all your support. I see you in the next one. Peace out.